I'ma get you anyway. You're the only one I'm gonna rise to. Run away, run away, run away, oh. Run away, run away, oh. Run away, run away, oh. Yeah, you kill it when you run away. I be looking at you with a saddest face. Can you tell me if you're satisfied? Are you ride or die? Can you be my wife or not? It's either you're the one or you were the other ones. I wish that you were the one, but I love to see you run. You sprint on, submit my guy. I can't chase. When you run away, run away. When you run away. I wanna be alone, following you to the bottom. Wanna breathe you in my lungs, but the wall you built is too colossal. Run away, run away, oh. Run away, run away, oh. Run away, run away, oh. Is it me or is it you? Is it me or is it that other doe? Why you wanna run away? What you running straight to? It's either you be here with me or go ahead and tie the noose. You wanna get all in my head, wanna try to hear what you said, but wanna be here when you be out in your brain. Wanna be there when you go insane. Cause you run away. Cause you run away. Run away from me. Yeah, you run away, run away from your problems. I'll make it you anyway. You're the only one I'm gonna rise to. Run away, run away, run away, oh. Run away, run away, oh. Run away, run away, oh.
The clock it taunts me, tells me I should be 30,000 feet in the air, but I'm only 6 feet. Still drowning in the thought I'll never be enough. Looking at myself and thinking he doesn't deserve your love. I can't escape the feeling I'm not human. It's just a subliminal act. I think I'm losing my mind, working overtime till my heartbeat stops on a dime. I think I saw a ghost staring back at me through the mirror. They're reaching through my soul as I dissociate the feeling I'm feeling again. Nostalgic memories of my past taught me, and I got nightmares of my future possess my mind. I'm staring at these walls, I think I might go insane. How can I feel something when nothing's
The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. For your best news coverage and commentary, tune in daily at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Morning Fix. The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday here on the Morning Fix Live radio show. I'm your host, Macho. We'll get Keisha tuned in really shortly for some breaking news on Hurricane Ian. Had ripped through Florida and is now heading its way towards South Carolina. Many South Carolinians are bracing for the worst 5 to 7 feet of a storm surge. A horrific injury, and it's now steaming significant controversy of Dolphin star quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. I don't even believe I said that right. Even despite all that, this guy sustained a major head injury. Thank goodness he is alive. Thank goodness he is speaking and walking today and out of the hospital, but he is severely concussed, and many people are talking about it. Republicans say Biden's bizarre episode is cause for alarm. Many are saying that soon the clock is ticking to decipher whether the sitting president is cognitive enough for the job. Collier Country Cowboys recall dramatic rescue of elderly man from flooded car. Dereliction of duty. Meghan Markle's made a lot of enemies, experts say. In entertainment news. And other news as well, some sad news breaking out of New York City. An EMT worker who spent a number of years, I think about 20 something years on the job, was about a block away from her command house. FDNY has reported that she was stabbed to death prior to entering the facility. Some sad news that was breaking out of New York City. And that's today's news wrap here on the Morning Fix Live radio show. Happy Friday to everyone. Welcome to another live event here. There she goes.
Good
She's
morning.
infamous hat on. We're ready to rock. Let's say good morning to everybody. Good morning, Ted. How are we?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Tina's here. Good morning. These are the faithful. These are the faithful. They're always here, like clockwork. Kai,
As
good
it should
morning.
be.
Katie, good morning. Viper, good morning. And I'm sure everybody else will be tuning in soon. I've also received text messages for people who watch on replay, Keisha, and people are starting to trickle in, starting to see the show. Hopefully they can catch us live. That would be nice.
That
So
is
that we
nice.
don't
That
have
would
to
be
just...
very nice if they could catch us live. Oh, looks like I need some lotion.
Oh, we got those ashy bows on a Friday morning.
Ah,
All right. So yesterday we had a very good time talking about the misconceptions, gross misconceptions on the role of a woman in a happier marriage, how beneficial it is for a woman, how beneficial it is for life. You guys
yeah.
can watch that yesterday. It is still up there. Today, we're going to be talking about politics. There's a lot of politics out there. And where should we start today? Should I get Keisha upset early today or later today? I'm not sure.
Can we just can we just start now, and that way maybe we can
Get through it
teeter off.
first. Let's get
So
through it
yeah, and
first.
then maybe I can just like teeter off into a good space
Well,
for my
I
day
know
officially
this. If I
starts.
know anything about you, this is the topic right here that grinds your gears. Here
Let's do
is a mega viral speech that was spoken on the House floor just yesterday by a top Democrat on the topic of abortion. Check this out.
There's been a lot of talk on the other side of the aisle, and I want to be clear. No one in this room is in the judicial branch, and no one in this room that I'm aware of is a medical doctor.
Oh, God.
If you believe that the provisions that the VA has put forward have a legal problem, you have the right to take up that case and put it through the courts. We are the legislative branch. We make laws, we pass laws. We are not judge and jury.
Can somebody tell that to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Governor Cuomo, ex-disdained Governor Cuomo? Can someone tell that to Governor Whitmer,
Governor Inslee.
Gretchen,
Governor
Inslee? How about Newsom? Right?
Newsom.
You guys are just the legislators. You guys don't dictate how that works, right? You guys are not
Correct.
scientists, right? So why were you guys telling us what to do during COVID? Right there. This is how is this go mega viral? Yeah, stick it to the Republicans, Democrats. Yeah, beautiful.
Take
Okay.
it to a court if you're concerned. That is your right. In terms of making decisions on behalf of women, if you want to take a veterans bill and make it about abortion, then let's do it. What you are saying, and you're saying in front of the American people, is that you believe a veteran who has been raped, who is the victim of incest, and who is having a dangerous miscarriage does not deserve access to abortion. You are saying, unless you correct me and tell me what you believe a woman deserves to have when she has been raped, the victim of incest, or is in the middle of a dangerous miscarriage, if you can't state it, then be clear you believe in no exceptions for women, a cold, heartless, violent approach to women's health. You want to ban all abortions.
I hear you. I hear you. What you got so far? What you got?
Okay. I want to know who said that. You see how extreme we get? So it's like this is the extreme of the extreme. Oh, there's no nothing for anything. Oh, okay. Who said that? And you know that the small percentage she's speaking of, right? It's this big. It's this big.
What, like Oklahoma, where 90%
Well,
of the state believes in no need for
abortion
any
like at all,
abortion at all?
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm talking even just like as far as incest, rape, and being pregnant. It's like this of
Oh,
all the
so
women,
it's not even an issue for them to take it as an issue.
right? Because of all the women who actually get abortions.
Yeah, it's more 90% of abortions in this country are out of convenience.
And you do realize, and I know this is going to sound disgusting, that if you give an opening, right? If you say, if you are raped, you can have an abortion. You know how many bitches are going to be raped?
Mm,
I'm just saying. It
I
won't be
got it.
legit. It won't be legit. Does that make
That took
sense?
a while for it to get through the brain, but I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I got it. I got it."
You
So
understand what I'm saying? So
just by that phrasing,
yes.
now
So if
everybody's getting raped. Now everyone's
yes,
getting
now
raped.
all of a sudden rapes are going to go up. They're going to go high.
Skyrocket. Yeah.
Yes.
Just because I want this abortion, so let me just say that I got raped.
If women will lie on you that you the daddy, you think they won't lie and say they were raped?
Oh my lord. Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
That is your goal. Many of you have been open about that. And if you flip the House, we know that you will put forward a full ban on all abortion for all states. You've been clear about it. You want to turn a veterans bill into an abortion bill, let's do it. Not one of you are a medical doctor. Not one of you. What the VA
Okay, pause.
guidelines say
Pause.
is that if
Pause.
you
Pause. Not one of you are a medical doctor, but that didn't stop them with COVID.
Right. Now you see what I'm saying?
So it's only it only matters that you're a doctor when it comes to killing babies. Is that what I'm hearing correctly? I just want to make sure I'm hearing it correctly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
To decipher when the time for an abortion. Like, are you guys doctors to decide when I guess the argument is conception at life.
Okay.
Conception. What is it? What is the argument for pro life? Again,
I,
remind
I
me.
don't care. What
At
listen.
conception at birth.
Listen. She's standing on the house floor screaming.
Somebody could come. Somebody could help me out here. What is the pro life argument again? It's in my head and it's gonna bother me.
Looks
Pro
like you might need
lifers.
some lotion too.
Yeah, you see that, right?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Conception is at birth or conception is at insemination, right? During that process.
Conception, yes, is at
Right.
the moment that you conceive. That is life.
Yes, the moment of conception is life. Yeah, that's where I'm getting at. All right.
There
Thank
you go. Okay.
I was
Hit
going
play.
to get rattled this
Let's
morning
hear
if I
the
didn't.
you've been raped or the victim of incest or a medical professional deems that your pregnancy is a risk to your health, the one of 4 women in this country who has had a miscarriage, probably many women in this room, that you are a better judge of who gets to decide the future of their life and not a medical doctor? Who do you think you are? You are politicians. We are all on this floor elected officials and not medical professionals. If it was your wife, your daughter, who is suffering through a miscarriage, are you going to tell her she can't until her fever gets high enough, until she's bleeding harder?
All right. So again, here's the problem with this. Now making it personal, as if
Yep.
the lawmakers are not making laws for themselves, as if the lawmakers are not taking account for their own families and for their friends and for everyone else. Yes. Is there some outliers? Of course, we've heard of stories of that time and time again. But at the end of the day, they're making laws general. It's not specific. It's not, oh, well, what about your kids? Yeah, my kids are involved in this. What about you? Yeah, that's what we're writing the law for. It's not for any exception for a person. We're talking about exceptions for circumstances, not for a person or a title, right, Keisha? Why she took it
Cor-
now moved it towards a person.
because it doesn't work unless it's emotional.
Yeah.
So a circumstance is not emotional, a person is, right? So if you attach it to like your loved one, your wife, your daughter, makes it personal, makes you think, makes you go, See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it also pulls at the heartstrings for the listener, right? You go, oh,
For,
when the
for the
shoe's on
people,
the other foot, right?
right? But America right now is very emotional. Very few are thinking rationally.
Well, David Hume, I know he's a racist by many, but many would say the philosopher, the Scottish philosopher, what a racist he was for saying
Yes,
such a thing.
correct.
Anyways, he said that what humans are emotional. They're not.
Extremely.
They don't think with logic. So,
Yes.
anyways.
Go ahead.
That's what's happening in the state of Texas right now. If that's what you want for veterans, shame on you. Shame on you.
I
For
grew up
veterans.
believing that.
So yeah, I guess this is
going
about
to college-
this is about a veteran bill. And are we taking into account of all the veterans that get raped in the military, which they do? Not gonna lie, they do. But do they have to carry the baby to term? And that's the argument. Are we going to make concessions for that? And the Republicans repeatedly, Keisha, have made that clear. Rape, incest,
Yeah.
even Lindsey Graham made it clear many times. Rape, incest, and the threat of the mother as well. The threat to her life.
We keep having the same conversation. It's the same conversation.
It's not going to go anywhere.
It's the same conversation because they keep making it about the three things that it's not about. So I think that's the problem, right? So if you keep making this bill about the three things it's not about,
Mm-hmm.
then it's never going to move forward. So they're trying to be able to use these three things, these very small percentage of things, as an excuse to continue to allow the majority to take a life. If I had nowhere to get an abortion, I would have worn
but-
my abortion is murder t-shirt.
But again, we're not taking account that they will never recognize that the subject
No,
we
no, no.
call them we call it human. The subject is a
Right.
human. They will never recognize that subject as human in which they're advocating to kill that human.
Okay, but you missed what I just said. They're not advocating for that life. They're advocating to take a life, but in a broad spectrum, but they're using these three things in order to get what they want. So they're not going to just come out and say, we think you can kill your baby. No, instead, they're going to say, you want to take away the ability for a woman who is raped or incest or she's going to die to be able to terminate her pregnancy. That's what they're doing.
Or be broke. That's another one that they're trying to slither in there, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but do you understand? So they
Yeah.
see that that's not going to work. So let's prey on the emotion of it all, right? So you're going to tell me that if this woman is horrifically raped, that she should be forced to keep this child.
Horrifically. You threw in I shouldn't laugh at that, but the fact that you threw in that extra layer is a Democrat tactic, right? Horrifically.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yes, like I
As
mean,
if rape is not horrific in and of itself.
on its own, right? So like
Yeah.
it can't stand on its own. The fact that you were raped is already tragic. We don't need to say it. We know. No.
Well,
They're gonna
the
compound
cons-
it. They're gonna build.
The consideration nor the discussion should not be just solely about the incident of rape, but also about the life in which that rape had made. So
Correct.
do we
But
have that conversation at all?
No, because the life is not valid if you didn't want it.
Right.
See how that works?
Or like it goes to the other argument, Keisha. I consented to sex. I didn't consent to pregnancy. I didn't consent to motherhood. Right?
You heard what I just said, right?
What's that?
It's valid as long as you don't want it.
As long as you don't want it.
period.
Raped,
Yes.
incest, and all that stuff. Yeah,
Right. See how that
valid as
works?
long as you don't want it. Yeah.
Valid
How do
as
you
long
feel about that whole idea of like, oh, it's I consented to sex, but I didn't consent to parenthood or motherhood or whatever the case may be.
Okay, then swallow.
You know,
What?
just when I anticipate what you would say, it
Well,
goes further than that. It goes beyond that. Like that one.
I'm just saying, I'm being honest. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. Yes,
No,
you absolutely
I hear what you're saying, right? I do. I hear what you're saying. But if you know what it takes to conceive, that's an egg and a sperm. If you recognize that when they come together, that they make a life, then you're consenting, right? So if you lay down for the pleasures and the joys and you're fertile, you're
Mhm.
consenting.
What?
Let's just
Okay, Keisha,
go
help
100.
convince me here. I haven't picked a side. I'm not pro
Okay.
life or pro choice. I haven't picked a side. I'm
Right.
leaning more pro life, right?
Okay.
How do you find the happy medium of like is there some validity to like, yes, we want to have casual sex, we
Mhm.
make the concessions, we did the thing, we have protection, where's birth control, but yet there's still a baby on the end of that. Do
Okay.
we just keep it black and white? It says no, we cannot kill that baby because a pro-lifer would never kill the baby, right?
Okay. So you ready for it?
Yeah.
So if you really truly use all contraception correctly, you will not get pregnant.
That's a fact. I know that as a fact.
Yes. So if you really don't want a baby, you do it correctly. That means you don't start the fun. And the pre-fun stuff starts to come out and then say, "Oh, wait, let's stop. I got to put on a condom." Nope. No, 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 no. That's not how that works. So what you do is you do it all. There's spermicides, there's all kinds of things, right? You take the pill, you get the thing inserted in you, whatever you need to do, plus you use a condom. If you use it correctly, most women who get pregnant on contraception is because they're on the pill and they don't take it properly.
Right.
Like
They're
it is
supposed to
a
take
time
it
thing.
at a specific
Yeah, it's a
time every
time
day.
thing, right? Every single day, and they
Yeah.
don't do that. So, if you do it correctly, you're not gonna get pregnant. And the reason why and the reason why that I know this is a fact, guess why I know this is a fact?
Right.
Robert and Andrea are 5 years apart. Guess what? Never took any birth control or did anything for 5 years. Never had a scare, never had a oops, never was worried about it. The moment that I wanted to be pregnant, I was pregnant.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did you say you never took birth control for 5 years and didn't get
5
pregnant?
years. Didn't
How's
get
that
pregnant.
possible? How's that possible?
Oh, it's really easy. You know what it takes to get pregnant? An egg and a sperm. You alleviate one or the other, you don't get pregnant.
So you're saying that there was some kind of birth control in there, right?
Uh,
Condom or
no
yeah.
condoms. I'm married. I don't do condoms. What are you talking about?
So
Why
you're
would I?
saying did you do like the life cycle? Is that what it is?
No,
Like did
no.
you do
So I know when I'm ovulating, right?
yeah, you
I
did that.
know that I'm
Family
ovulating.
planning. It's called like family
Yeah,
planning or
so I
something
know
like
when
that.
I'm ovulating. So it's just like I'm not ovulating. And if I, and even then it's like pull it out, man. Like don't leave that there.
Pull out doesn't work all the time.
No, it
That's
does. 5 years. 5 years. It works. Get control over your stuff. Pull out. Get it out. Why are you
don't put
laughing?
out. I'm laughing because I was told growing up that the pull out method doesn't
I'm
work.
dead ass.
Where we
Listen,
play
I'm dead ass.
ourselves.
Okay, listen, and you know what, ladies? If you're ovulating, stay away. It's a couple of days. It's not like you're gonna die if you're not doing it for 3 or 4 days. You're not gonna die.
But
Like, stop.
ovulation is the time where women are most, ready for sex,
Who
right?
told you this lie?
That's what I heard. I heard through
Okay,
the grapevine.
okay.
I heard that's when women want to really get it on when they're ovulating during that time of the month.
Uh,
It's like a week, isn't it like a week before your period and stuff like that?
after.
Oh, it's after. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
All right, sure.
All right.
I'm just going with what you're saying. I mean,
The
oh look, the
family
rhythm method
planning,
didn't work.
the rhythm method doesn't work. So the family planning method worked for you for
Yes,
5 years, and
5
you
years.
were very intentional. You had Robert. That was the one for you that you were like, oh, there it is. And then
What's funny with
5 years you were like, yeah.
Robert is I was actually on birth control when I got pregnant with Robert.
So you weren't taking it properly.
Correct. I just wasn't doing it properly, but I was on birth control when I got pregnant with Robert.
Stop laughing like that.
So
I hate when you
technically
laugh like that.
Robert wasn't an oops. Okay, like, I don't feel like children are an oops, right? Like, if you if you're doing it and you're allowing the seed, your garden to be fertilized and you're putting in seeds, the chances are something's gonna grow.
Yeah, and I think
If
that
you're planting your seed during the fertilization time, like when the sun is up and
mhm.
it's been well watered and all those fun things, guess what? Chances are something's going to grow. And my chance, a Robert grew who is now 6'4".
6'4", strapping, and is doing well for himself.
Yeah, he's
Um,
anorexic, but he is doing well for himself.
all right, so now I'm trying to get to this part right here. The answer
Oh,
to this, in my mind, is if you don't consent to being a parent after having casual sex, then there are other options, right? You can put the child up for adoption rather than put the child through an
can we just
excruciating
start
death.
at the basics of being responsible, right? Like, the problem
But
is
it
you're
can't
having
be. It can't.
casual
The problem is okay.
Ah,
All right. All
the
right.
problem is you're having casual sex. So stop banging on people you don't wanna make babies with. See, that's the problem that I have. Like, you don't wanna protect yourself from stuff that'll kill you, but you're worried about, like, a baby. Like, why don't you be worried about, like, things that don't go away, like herpes? Like, that's the part that be killing me right now in this conversation. They're so worried about all these things that don't matter. Oops, baby, because her husband vasectomy didn't take. Now that's a different situation. He shoulda went back and got that checked out.
So you have to go back and verify that the vasectomy is working.
Yes, you have to go back. So
Damn.
after you have it, you have to go back twice to make sure that you're shooting blanks.
So I also want to make it clear for all the ladies out there, like, oh, men could get vasectomies. Vasectomies are irreversible by the year. So every year, the percentage of it becoming reversible gets less and less and less. I think after 2 years, it's like drastically drops. So good luck with that reversibility after like 2 or 3 years of having
And
casual
I do
sex, because
understand
you're gonna
there's
start shooting blanks,
yeah, and
literally.
I do understand that women also have had tubals and gotten pregnant, right? That's why they changed the way they do tubals. So I recognize that people have done things, but you know what happens in those situations where, like, they have oops babies because of vasectomies or tubals that fail? They have the baby. That's the difference. So the people like that have the babies.
But
It's
why
those
does
it's those
is
who don't take any precautions that are the ones worried about whether or not they can get rid of it.
But I feel also like, because back in the day, back in the day, when a woman was pregnant, there was childhood pregnancy in this country. That happened. It used to happen in this country. In fact, in the early 1900s, the average woman who would get pregnant was anywhere between 14 and 21. Right.
Right.
So what happened during that time frame? Is it because our economy became more multi, like, two people income, or is it now we're seeing pregnancy differently today than we ever did before?
We're more selfish today than we ever were before.
Oh, hands down. Yeah. Oh,
So
hell yeah.
before everything was about family, right? So the goal in life was to find a mate and make babies. That was the goal in life.
Immediately.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the goal in life. So, like, you started young so you can have 10 kids, right? And that's what life was. Now it's what kind of house do you have? What kind of car do you drive? How much money do you have in the bank? Do you have a black car? Do you have a private jet? You know what I'm saying? Like, all the things that really don't matter in the grand
Can you
scheme of
give me
things.
everything I desire?
Right. Do you have
Yeah.
Birkins? You know what I'm saying? So that's where we've gotten to today. So, like, when you hear this lady arguing on the floor of the house floor, she's just arguing for the freedom to be selfish.
Or, well, I mean, she threw in rape in there. Like, it's not completely selfish. But you made the argument in response. You're arguing, you're making a mountain of a molehill of a very small, minute
Yes, but
circumstance.
she wants to use that to give the selfish people the ability to do it. That's what they're
Yeah.
doing. It's
Mhm.
bigger than that. They don't really care about rape. They
No.
just care about the fact that you can kill your kid. That's all they care about. Let's just be honest. She can say whatever she wants to say on that house floor. She's a liar. I already know the truth. You don't argue
Can we
this
be
hard.
honest?
No, you don't
Can we
argue this
be
hard for
real?
something
Yeah.
unless it has more to it. So there you go.
The one thing that I knew in my life, Keisha, growing up in New York City, because abortion is just culturally acceptable. It's rampant, right? Like
Yeah,
it's, hey, you're pregnant? Oh, go to the clinic, get that fixed.
correct.
Anyway, so uh, no matter what, because of my upbringing, right? My mom was like, "No, you get a girl pregnant, you're on your own," which I feel I would never do to my daughter. I would never do to my son, right? My daughter
Right.
came to me when the age that I got my first wife pregnant. She was 16, I was 17. If I if my son came to me, I would celebrate a child coming into this world and want to help and assist with my wisdom and my guidance. We have to be the quiet, the sound reasoning in this process, but also celebrate it, right?
Right.
But we've demonized this in some ways to say, well, now your life is over. Now everything you want to do is done. It's on the back burner because now your life belongs to that child. Is that a form of like demonizing pregnancy and demonizing raising children today? Right?
Yeah, but it preys on the selfishness of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I said it yesterday, day before, whatever. You can have it all, and a lot of people think that they can't. So they think by having a child, their whole life is going to come to an end. Not the case.
Yeah.
Just the way you move in life looks different.
Carol Swain is a prime example of what you're talking about. You're a prime example of that. You finished school.
I did.
You done more than that in your
Yeah.
life.
Hmm.
Uh, and also, Carol Swain lived in a two-room shack. Was married at 14. Had several kids, and
Yeah.
became a doctor. And then started teaching at Vanderbilt University. Became a senior tenured professor. So she rose to prominence. You see her today. She's writing books. She's highly educated. She's challenged. She challenges the pervasive ideology. So it's you could have these times in your life, or and children have setbacks like Tom Sowell, right? He had legal issues in his younger years and
Right.
still become one of the smartest men in American history. And it's not speaking of binary, it's not binary, right? You're not stuck and your life is not over. And we need to stop telling young women and young men that we don't want to advocate for teen pregnancy, but we also don't want to demonize the fact that we're having a life coming into this world.
Right. And I think it's important that we also recognize that this society today is very entitled. So everyone's about I deserve, you should give me. No one's really about the hard work. We used to really work hard for things, and so we understood what it meant to achieve something because we had to work hard for it. Now it's just give me, give me, give me, you owe me, I'm entitled to.
Mm,
And that's why you get that mentality. That's why people are like, my life is over. Okay.
mhm.
No, you're just gonna have to work a little harder. It's okay. You'll survive. You'll be fine.
And shame on those parents talking shit like, "Oh, I will kick your ass out." Shame on those churches too to demonize women who got pregnant out
Well,
of wedlock, like
but
all that other stuff.
whatever you think about TD Jakes, right? His daughter was pregnant at 14.
That's right. Yeah.
And
But
you see what he
TD
did with that?
Jakes. So TD Jakes doesn't give me the feel like he's got that finger in your face. He's
He
always
doesn't.
seemed to be
He stood
like he's
behind
like
her.
Joe. He's like Joe Osteen to me. Kind of
Yeah,
like
but they're not
it's
great
okay.
people. They're not great people. They're really about the mega church, the money. But when his daughter got pregnant at 14, he stood behind her and he supported her. And because he did, she's thriving today, right? And I mean, he's a pastor. His name is everywhere. I mean, well, he's a bishop and his name is everywhere. And so sometimes that's just what it is.
And
People make mistakes.
do you have any thoughts in the back of your head, like hearing a pastor, bishop, or even a priest support pro-choice? Do you think there's something fundamentally wrong with that?
I do.
Yeah.
I
I
absolutely do.
I didn't think we were gonna go in this direction, but I do have a video of there was like a beef, if you want to call it that, with Lecrae and Charlie Kirk. And if, for those who are not familiar, Lecrae is well known for the song with Andy Mineo, "Coming In Hot." No, 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 coming in hot, coming in hot. Right? Everybody knows that song. Anyways, he's also well known for other songs. Even despite that, he supported and advocated for Representative Raphael Warnock. Right? And Raphael Warnock is a pastor of Ebenezer Church, the famous church that Martin Luther King Sr. and Jr. both preached there. And so Raphael Warnock is also the lead pastor there, the teaching pastor there at Ebenezer Church in Georgia. And as he's running for candidacy, the Senate race, Lecrae is advocating for him to win that seat. And Charlie Kirk comes out swinging, and I mean swinging, Keisha, saying Lecrae should never perform at another church ever again because he supports a man who supports killing babies in the womb. Over 400,000 black babies have been killed as a result of Planned Parenthood.
So does
And
Joe
so
Biden.
and Joe Biden is a Catholic, and the Catholic Church
Exactly.
has supported Joe
Y-
Biden and certain Catholic
Yes.
churches. Yeah,
Yeah, and if you look back at his videos, he used to say that abortion was wrong.
oh, he wanted it to be legal, rare. What was it that saying?
Yeah, I don't
You
know,
know,
but yeah, he used to support that it was wrong. He
yeah.
also used to say that gay marriage was wrong.
Obama had the same stances too, right? These highly religious. Well, Obama was far more religious than Joe Biden was, right? Obama
Wasn't
was going
Obama
to
the first president though that didn't have like prayer in the White House on the day of prayer? Wasn't he the first
uh
president that
I
did that?
believe so. Yeah, I
Okay.
believe
Well, then
so.
he's not
Yeah.
then he's not a very religious person.
Well, he was going to Raphael Warnock's church. He was
Yeah,
going. He
but
was
you
sitting
understand
under
what I'm
his teaching.
saying though? Like
Yeah,
you can say whatever you want to say about people, but like I believe AJ says it best. If you ever want to know what someone thinks about you, change your mind.
change your mind. That's right. That's right.
So there you
So
go.
here's Lecrae's response to Charlie Kirk, and it's a typical response. And I'm not surprised by this because Lecrae a few years ago did a TED Talks, and he has that systemic racism mindset. So I'm not surprised by this response here. So here's Lecrae in response to Charlie Kirk's he should never perform at another church ever again for supporting Raphael Warnock. Here it is.
Okay.
I do want to give you the chance to talk about this because I know people like Charlie Kirk have told other Christians to not listen to your music because you supported now Senator Raphael Warnock. And I just want to give you an opportunity to respond to that. I did see the video that you did on YouTube where you were talking about your stance on, pro-choice versus pro-life. But I wanted to give you an opportunity to address that because I think a lot of us are
And to be 100%, I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna say here. I didn't watch this clip, but I know for a fact Lecrae is 100% pro-life. I know that for a fact.
Right.
But it does put him in a skewed position when you're supporting a person who is pro-choice. It starts to ring alarms.
know
Okay.
people who say certain things like this, even to us. Oh, you support this, so I'm against you for this. Or how as you, as a Christian, could you support this? So I just want to give you the opportunity to talk about it.
I never got into a real rap beef before, so I always wanted somebody to be like, "Yo, tell me about so and so," and I could be like, "Who that?" Never heard of. Nah, but
No, I like that. I like that.
Well, it's not a rap beef because Charlie Kirk is not a rapper.
A rapper.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
but I'll just say this, I don't think people see the amount of racist rhetoric that comes out their mouth when they try to cancel, you know what I'm saying? Like, you represent one of the largest majority white institutions and organizations out there, and you're saying, don't invite this black man into another church again. Like,
all right. So I want to address something really quick. The immediate recline, the place where he resides, makes him no different than most people out there who get stopped for an illegal traffic stop where they're dead wrong. They obviously did something illegal. Oh, you stopped me because I'm black, or you're going through my car because I'm black. You're abusing me because I'm black. You shot me because I'm black. You killed me because I'm black. You put drugs in my neighborhood because I'm black. It's the same rhetoric for me to recline to that, and it's like, yo, we need people to stand out and stand proud in the difference of, like, no, it doesn't always have to be that way. but he's gonna recline to that, right? There's no real
Right.
distinction with him on this. The other part is if all the black people who vote in the Democrat Party all of a sudden go and start voting Republican, the Democrat Party will now be the largest white institution. So I don't know what it's either or. So we had black people who voted historically Republican, Martin Luther King, Avita King to this day. You have many prolific and old school black leaders who still vote Republican to this day. So there
You
was
know
a
what?
shift where black voters moved to the Democrat side, making one side the largest. So this is an argument that makes no sense to me, Keisha.
It
To
doesn't make sense
raise
to
that.
me either, but what's interesting about this is as if you are a believer, especially a believer in Christ, right? It's very interesting to me how they have ever supported the Democratic Party. But there are like I've seen more quote unquote Christians telling you to vote Democratic when they're the ones that want to kill babies. It's fascinating to me that a lot of the beliefs within Christian values, the
I
Democrats
I could I could I
staunchly
can make it.
disagree with,
Yeah,
but
I
they
can
still
make the
support it.
argument why it's conceptual, it's not practical. The idea of voting in the Democrat side as a Christian believer is the harmonious life. The whole idea of living for other is the one of the premise, the tenets of the Bible, of the Gospels, right? Living
Correct.
for others, sacrificing for others. So
Correct.
socialism is part of the rhetoric of the Christian church. However, it's the conclusion where it's landed, where it's gotten us to. Marxism, socialism, communism has at that direction has led to so much of the demise of not only institutions but people in general. A lot of millions of lives have been cost by this, which we cannot atone for the Republican Party in this country. They're definitely the party of true faith, of true belief, traditionalism,
Well,
culturalism, and all that stuff.
right, but you have to understand too, like no matter if you're like a quote unquote if you believe in like religion, right? At the end of the day, there is a morality to protection of life, right? So no matter what you practice, there is this distinction of protecting life and that life is valuable. What is happening right now is we are losing sight of what we're doing and we're just fighting to be right. That's why there's all these beefs and distractions behind and around abortion. I don't care what you believe. At the end of the day, you would protect life. And if you don't protect life, something's wrong with you. And I always struggle because if you killed a puppy or if you had a dog that was pregnant and you kicked the mother in the stomach, people would be belly flopping out onto the floor, freaking out about you doing this harm to this dog, but they don't take that same accountability for the life of a human, right?
No.
So it's deeper than religion. We can remove all beliefs. We don't even have to talk about God. We can just say, as human beings, as nature has seen us, the fact of the matter is we protect life, all
Right.
life. So we're
Exactly.
losing that direction right now. So like with all these distractions and all these things that we're talking about, we're losing the direction in which we should be going, and we're making it about red or blue, right or left, religion, non-religion, Christian, not Christian. But the fact of the matter is we should be protecting life at all cost. At all cost.
Yeah, and that's why I don't. That's where I would side with you, and now broaden that argument and say we understand that the future goal of the everyday Christian life, the end product is to live in harmony in heaven, right? To live in
Yes.
harmony under God, and there is no idea of do it for yourself because we're doing it for each other. We're living together. We're living in harmony. We're sharing. We're doing all that. That's what we're striving for. However, you cannot strive for living and sacrificing for other while taking the other's life.
Correct.
And
And
that's
and
where it starts at the root, at the core.
and with
And
yeah,
that's why I don't understand why people vote for Democrats.
yeah, but even in Christianity, right? Like the idea is to make you live a prosperous life, a good life, right? So even within the 10 commandments, it's basically thou shall not kill, thou shall not steal, treat your neighbor how you want to be
Hmm.
treated, right? It's like a morality check, right? So
Yep.
it's to keep you always thinking about not self, but others. That's what it's designed for. So
Yep.
whether you are a believer or not, the idea is to not think of self and think of others and not just be callous in that and reckless in that. And
And
we've
one of
lost so much track of that we've just become reckless. If you think about all these horrific crimes that are committed where people's lives are taken, you know why that happens? Because they were thinking about self. It was all about
you mean
them.
suicide? Yeah.
No, 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 I mean, like, shootings, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're shooting the ex-girlfriend, they're doing you see what I'm saying? It's always about self. "Oh, you made me feel. Oh, I feel. I."
Yeah.
And we right now, we are catering to that thought process. You have
Absolutely.
the right to feel how you wanna feel. No one you see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter how it impacts the next person. Everybody
Yeah.
else is supposed to just go with it.
I I don't always agree with Charlie Kirk's rhetoric. I do agree with him here on this, and he's clear-headed on this topic because if you are a Christian, you believe in value in the protection of life, living
Yes,
for the other, sacrificing for the other. You
yes,
can't have all of that with the living, but the unborn, you can just seemingly make that decision as an afterthought. No,
yes,
this has to be a constant thought process throughout a Christian's life and perspective that you value life even to the one that is the unborn in the womb. Because can you
absolutely.
imagine if we didn't value that life, Jesus would have never been born by the Virgin Mary. Jesus
You
would have
woulda
been
never been born.
exactly. I would have never been born. You would have never been born.
No.
And I that's where I start to go conceptually. I understand why people, especially some Christians out there, would vote Democrat. I believe a large number of true Christians, in a sense of it, of the fundamentalists, like to their core, will vote conservative because they are conservative. They are traditional. And you have conservative people who do vote Democrat, Keisha, that they are pro-life Democrats, which they always get overshadowed by the progressive part of the caucus, and
Got it.
and that's pretty sad. That right there is sad because now you have all these big name politicians out there like advocating stone cold hard, but without the mind, not without the regard. We have the regard for the mother. We have the regard. The mother is the victim in this when she's raped. The mother is the victim in this when there's incest, right? She didn't consent to pregnancy, she consented to this. Sure. But are we considering now the other human in her? There's another human being in there. So, but we again, they do not acknowledge that, like
Well, it's only
myself and
that
Keisha are
that
saying.
statement right there that she just made, unless it's a wanted baby, then suddenly it's a live baby. That right there is a powerful statement because
Oh,
that is
nanny.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fact. That is fact right there.
And that's in all circumstances. Wanted in incest, wanted in rape, wanted in, and
Yes.
you know 50% of the raped victims actually have their babies
Yes.
and actually raise them. Like
You know
it's
why?
incredible by that.
You know why?
Why?
Because they recognize that that life did not have a choice.
Right.
So that's the motherly instinct and the humanity in that individual to say, even though this child was conceived in a tragic way, this child still deserves love and this child still deserves life.
That's right. So let's see how that ends. Again, Lecrae gets, I don't dislike this guy, but his rhetoric has been very strange in the past, I want to say the past 5 years. Like he was a Bible thumper when he first came out, and I'm talking about back in the 2000s. And we're talking about true, like new God, like New Testament kind of theology. And he just kept going. Now all of a sudden, when he rose to higher amounts of fame,
Mhm.
his his perspective like really broadened because his reach needs to get wider and wider and wider, right?
Yeah.
Funny enough, no pun intended, his record label is Reach Records, and so it's just like he has to have that wider and wider reach. So let me figure out a way to come and meet that other person who may not see, like he's a pro lifer. I'm telling you right now, I know this personally. He is a pro-lifer, 100%. For him to support Raphael Warnock had nothing to do with him believing in him as a senator and him just believing the idea of him. Or maybe he was paid to, right?
It was to get more people to listen to him.
That's it. I don't believe he supports Raphael Warnock in his theology at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. I don't believe it. But Charlie Kirk has a point to call him out here because he's like, yo, where are you? Where do you really stand? Are you going to do this because you look? If he would have came out here, Keisha, and said, "I did this because they paid me for this,"
Right.
Copy 10-4, got it. But you're going to now recline to that. Charlie Kirk is a racist. We know Charlie Kirk's not a racist. He's not.
Right.
So do better next time. You know what I'm saying? Like that right there. It's like, do better, buddy. Come on. Like elevate your argument and maybe make a hey, you know what? You got me, Charlie. Or, you know what? Here's where I would push back in this particular point. Outside of the freaking superficial, I don't know, this thing kind of rubs me up the wrong way.
That's so, all the white supremacy wrapped up in that is crazy.
Oh boy. Yep. White supremacy always coming to that. I just don't like. What is white supremacist about Charlie Kirk? Honestly, what is the guy literally ran a company with a black woman named Candace Owens. She then split off, started her own company called Blexit. She started with Turning Point. Like, whatever.
The thing is, and I think what's continuing to happen is, again, there are hot words, keywords, the words that strike people and get people worked up, and those are the words that people will continue to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does even white supremacist even mean anymore?
Today.
You're white and you disagree with me? Like, I mean, that's like the new definition.
You have a house. You have a house, white supremacist. You have a car. You're married with 2 kids, white supremacist.
Yes. Yes. You live on the hill, white supremacist. I mean, like it's literally nothing now. It's just you disagree with me, you're a white supremacist.
Couldn't agree with Prince anymore. Right there, the bottom way of thinking. And he had a compliment for you. That couch does look good, and it's black and it's clean. There's not a hair. She owns a dog, folks. That couch is clean. Look at that thing. Nice.
First of all, he doesn't get on the couch. Secondly, there is.
You know how many dog owners I've heard say stuff like, "Oh, they don't get on my bed. They don't get on my couch." You know how many dog owners I've heard say stuff like that? And then they go right on the couch, right on the bed the minute they go to work.
Brian, are you still in here? F250, where you at?
F250, get your Mack truck ass in here. Come on.
Wait, where he at? F250, where you at? Brian's
and this is despicable. This
Brian's
is despicable right here.
now.
This is despicable right here. They call Glenn a white supremacist.
Exactly, and he blacker than black. Okay,
and he's not just black. It's where he came from, kind of black.
That's
where
what
did
he
come from? Kentucky. Like, are you all right? Whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, Mr. F250, does Creed get on the bed or the couch? He's gonna tell you right now. He's gonna tell you. Is he allowed on this couch?
You don't even pet your dog with your hands.
Yeah, wait, no, he's gonna tell you. He's gonna tell you.
That's the part. That's the part that got
I'm not just talking. I'm not just talking. He's gonna tell you. The dog, he better not. I flip my cushions to ensure that he doesn't get on the couch. Because he is a dog. And if he jumps on my bed, life will end for him. Don't do it. You have your own bed. He has a memory foam bed. I paid a lot of money for that bed. What do you say right there?
He said no.
Thank you.
There you go. Brian's your witness. All right. Before we take a quick pivot, let's do a quick water break in this merch drop. And as a disclaimer, the merch is out already. The merch is out already. Here's without further ado. All right, we're back here on the Morning Fix Live radio show. I'm your host, Macho. We have Keisha in the building, as always, making her appearance and making her voice known, because you know she's in here when you never know what comes out of Keisha's mouth. That's for sure. We're discussing, we just finished discussing the idea of abortion and how Democrats touted to just limited factors rather than the whole idea of honoring and preserving life, moving to the idea of supporting anyone in religiosity that is a pro-lifer, but then wants to advocate about the whole idea of religiosity is a mystery to both of us, and probably perhaps to many of you who are watching. But again, a lot of the Christian people today, and some of the churches I've been in, I don't know if you've been in them, but they will be called quote unquote Christian nationalists now. That is a hot topic word, a buzzword now all of a sudden. And this is an indictment on the churches today. Again, a lot of people in this country identify as Christian. A lot of people in this country identify as Catholic. And one of the commandments I wanted to say, Keisha, is honor thy mother, thy father. And
Yes.
immediately you go into conflict with majority of people in this country. The progressives lost the war when you hear that. Because why? They're going towards a non-binary world. The Christians are honor thy mother, thy father. Why? For you shall be rewarded with a long life.
Yes.
How can you go against that commandment? Honor thy mother, thy father. But you can't honor thy mother, thy father if you can't call them mom and dad. We're in a conundrum.
No, actually, we're living in the last days, and it's all demonic.
Yeah, it's been that way since Christ died.
So I'm
Okay?
just saying, I mean, like, ultimately, like I said it before, the commandments are designed to give you a structure and a sense of morality, and there you have it. Period, point blank.
And
So we get into Herschel Walker being
we getting
homo.
into Herschel right now. Well, first, I want you to rip this guy apart because this guy rubs
Let's
me
do
the
it.
wrong way. This
Let's
is
do it.
David Pacman. David Pacman is probably the most critical, not just to Republicans, but anyone who's endorsed by Trump, because the man can't stand Trump and he can't stand people who support people like Trump or have anything of the like Trump or anything. In all honesty, he also doesn't like Republicans, generally speaking. Here's David Pacman on Herschel Walker's incoherentness. You heard me right. He's getting on Herschel Walker and him being incoherent.
We're continuing our coverage of some of the most important and consequential races in 2022. One such race is the Georgia Senate election. This is the race in which Democrat Raphael Warnock is the incumbent. And on the other side, very disturbingly,
Keisha, who's this woman here? I want to see if you know. Who's that woman next to Herschel Walker?
That I don't know. I can't
You
even
know.
see that person. Is she alive? Is that a real person?
Yeah, that's a real person.
Oh, who is it?
Does anyone? Okay, let's see. Anyone in the? Oh,
There we go.
Nanny is on it. Wow, I
go.
was just about to ask the group. All right, we already.
Thank you,
So
girl.
everyone
Yeah.
knows. Everyone knows who this woman is, and I don't fault Keisha for not knowing because she probably thought. You probably thought this was part of the image, right? Like
Like I wasn't even sure.
yeah,
Well, listen,
was a real person.
let me keep it 100. So, I move spaces. So I don't have like a big monitor so that I can even see it, and I'm old, so I can
Oh, to be
barely
okay, got you. That's Avita King.
got
Avita
it.
King is the niece to Martin Luther King.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but I don't need to know because look, all these people are telling me. So perfect. Go.
here we go.
Herschel Walker, former NFL football player, is the Republican nominee. There is a new series of videos of Herschel Walker at some kind of event. And in this event, we've heard Herschel Walker be completely incoherent about the economy.
Yeah, sure.
We've heard Herschel Walker be completely incoherent about gun violence. We've heard Herschel Walker be completely incoherent about social media. Here, he delves into issues of race
Those are all areas of debate, but I agree with Mr. Pacman on this.
relations and the Constitution and what he refers to as the 14th Amendment. Now, that's not my pronunciation. I want to be very clear, but this is another one of these examples where Walker looks visibly confused by the things coming out of his mouth. He doesn't seem to know what he's saying.
It sounds like he's talking about somebody. but he ain't.
Ooh.
This black man. We'll continue.
And
Okay.
certainly no one in the room has any clue what this guy is saying. And he is even in the polls with Raphael Warnock. This is one of the most important races. Not only is it important, because if Democrats do hold the Senate, it may be by only one seat. And if this race doesn't go the way of Raphael Warnock, it could be because of Herschel Walker that Democrats lose control of the Senate. It's important for that reason. It's also important because this guy is so unqualified to be a senator that...
What are the qualifications to be a senator, folks?
Old.
Anyone in the chat, what are the qualifications to be a senator? It's very simple. Very, very simple. Go ahead, Keisha. What are your thoughts?
Old. Some may even think white.
Okay, old, white. Anybody else? What are the qualifications to be a senator?
You
Aside
should be for the people. You should be for your
reality.
your
there's
people.
some
and
legal
yours. Yeah.
areas,
Well, not the legal stuff, but I'm saying like you should be for the people, about the people, right? We're not going to do the legal stuff, right?
Okay, you
Here
have
we
to
go.
be
Here come the
30
legal
years old.
alert.
There's an age
Resident.
criteria. You have to be 30 years old. You have to be a resident of
be a
the state
resident.
in which you're representing. You have
Yes.
to be there. What else do you have to have? Very
Citizen
fundamental.
for 9 years.
Right? Citizenship for 9 years. These are more legality issues.
Yep.
What is the primary qualification to reach the seat of senatorship?
Votes. Got to be voted in.
You don't even have to be a freaking lawyer to be a senator. You
Nope.
don't have to be anything. You could have a high school diploma.
Yep.
And as long as you meet the legal statutes, you could be voted in as a senator.
Yep.
So I don't know what this man is saying. He's unqualified. What was the stipulation of a qualification? Because if that, why is Nancy Pelosi a representative? Why is people like Rand Paul's not a lawyer? Rand Paul was a doctor.
Yep.
Mehmet Oz, who's running for senator right now. Why is he running for senator? He was not a lawyer. John Fetterman, his counterpart, didn't even study law. Why is he running for senator? These guys write law. They write law that kids go to school to study and then practice. So I'm just confused. What is the qualifications? Anybody out there? Anyone else there listening? Can you help us? Anyone who is now wandering through the Twitch algorithm, the YouTube algorithm. Hey, we're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitter, on Periscope. Go to MachoFix88. You'll find me there as well. We're being broadcasted right now live on many different platforms. So anyone out there scrolling through the social media abyss, what are the qualifications to become a senator in the United States? You tell us something we don't know already, right? We say here on the Morning Fix, all the requirements that you need, aside from the legality, it's votes. People need to vote you in. That's it.
That's it.
It really puts in serious relief, I guess I would say. You really feel the texture of how absurd the modern Republican Party has become that they're willing to vote for a guy like this. So let's listen to this first clip about the 14th Amendment.
I'm like, whoa. I said, first of all, you read the Bible for forgiveness. And I said, if you read the Constitution and the 14th Amendment, do you know our forefather was apologizing for the whiteness because they said every man be treated fair. But what has happened, we elected the wrong people to office that didn't pick that baton up and run with it.
Okay, do you know what he just said? If you read the Constitution, the 14th Amendment, you know our forefather was apologizing for their whiteness because they say every man be treated fair. But what has happened? We elected the wrong people to office that didn't pick up the baton and run with it.
All right. So I'm going to be honest here. I've heard more incoherent things. I don't see where the incoherence is here. Is it simple? Absolutely. I couldn't be. Listen, they say the most smartest people are the ones who could take a complex idea and turn it simple. Hey, I don't know who Mr. Walker was talking to. He didn't give us the context of the congregation or the group of people he was talking to. Again, the 14th Amendment, if we wanted to get into legal theory and have a whole big discussion and then have a seminar over it, I'm sure it's not going to be in this format. And I would agree with Mr. Pacman. Herschel Walker's not the guy to have that conversation. But is this a measure of incoherence?
Okay,
Keisha?
so let's just start here real quickly. First of all,
Uh-oh.
what we're not gonna do
Uh-oh.
is we're not gonna disrespect someone on their accent in which they speak. That's the first
Mhm.
thing we're not gonna do. Okay.
Yeah, we don't do that.
This holier than thou fool who is speaking is basically trying to break him down on an intellectual level, right? So he's basically saying to us he's not intellectually able to be a senator. He can't even
Mhm.
say amendment correctly.
Right.
That's what he's doing. He's saying that without saying it. But I'm going to say this.
Uh-huh. Go
Herschel
ahead.
Walker and the people in which he represents understand him perfectly fine.
Oh, yes, they do.
Okay? So why are you worried about it? We have a babbling buffoon who's the commander in chief of the country.
Tell him, Keisha.
He don't even know who's dead or alive, and you coming in here talking crazy? See, this
Please
is
tell
the
him.
bullshit that irritates me. Okay,
Hmm.
you want to talk about Herschel Walker, okay, and you want to talk about him, but we got a fool who stands in front of us on a regular, and no one knows what the fuck actually just came out of his mouth. See, the disrespect is real.
Here it
Okay,
is.
the disrespect is real. So what I'm gonna say to this idiot, you know what? I'm gonna send him a nice message myself personally to let him know you sound ignorant. In fact, that's a racist right there. He's racist. Are you saying this because he's black?
I
Why
don't
isn't he? No, no,
I
no. Why
wouldn't
isn't
yeah.
he? Why isn't he able? What is wrong with the way he speaks? If the people in which he represents understands what he's saying,
Mm.
then why are we worried about it? Like he couldn't say anything other than how he said amendment. He doesn't really have a logical argument and why Herschel Walker is not able to be a senator. He doesn't have one. So now we're going to address that he speaks on a simple level as he should. He's speaking to simple people. Okay, not
Correct.
everybody understands the complexities of certain things. Okay, so let's just break it down so everyone, no matter your level of education, can understand. Okay, let's
Where and
just keep it
also to
simple.
everyone out there, Raphael Warnock is the current senator, not just of the entire Georgia, of a certain district of Georgia in Fulton County.
Yeah,
Anybody know the voting IQ of vote in Fulton County? People are not diving into this intellectually. They're not diving
no,
into this in a deep conversation. And I'm not calling them stupid by any
it's
stretch.
not
I'm
about
just
being
saying
stupid though.
it's
It's
not
just
a
a
top
layman term.
priority for them. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just a layman term, right?
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to use big words to get to get it across. It's just let's just keep it simple. Let's relate to everyone. Let's just have a conversation. He's just having a conversation, speaking to the people. So when you come in and you criticize someone based on him speaking to the people, you get no respect from me. I don't he can say anything at this point. I'm no longer listening. When the commander in chief himself cannot formulate a complete sentence, no one has the room to talk about anybody. If he is capable of still running this country, let this fool tell it.
Mm,
Then Herschel Walker is capable of anything. And I
facts.
think that to hear this and to see this is very disgusting, and it is a complete representation of the world we live in. We no longer judge people on their merit. We no longer judge people on policies. We no longer judge people on what they're standing for. Now we're judging people on how they say amendment. Like seriously? This is what we're doing right now?
And how he talks about that amendment, right?
Yes,
He's
exactly
oh,
how
this
he
is this
explains
is
it.
when the white man apologized for their history and made
Whatever.
and said we are equal now. I mean, it gets better. It gets better because
Oh,
Pac-Man
oh,
doesn't hold any punches. He likes to keep going and likes to dive deep with his
oh,
intellectual arguments over his simple man. Here it is.
got it.
I don't know what that means.
Leaders, they left the baton there and complained about what was happening rather than trying to fix it.
Yeah. And the woman to his left nodding. She seems to get it. I don't know what he's talking about, guys.
All right.
Because you're white.
How could he say the woman to his left? How like you? All right.
Listen.
I mean, let me say that I got this, Chuck. That's why I asked the question. Do you know who this woman is? Everyone, if Keisha, I promise you, if you were in front of your screen, you would know that who that woman was.
Yes.
Everyone knows who Avita King is, and everyone also knows Avita King is a Republican. Okay, that's number one. She's also said how her uncle was Republican, right? She made it very loud, very clear, over and over again. Anyways, I digress to a point. How can you simply say the woman if this was a Marjorie Green Taylor next to Herschel Walker, he wouldn't say that woman because he knows that woman. He would say, and here's Miss Green. Of course, she would nod. Now let's go with another take. Let's say if Michelle Obama was sitting next to him, would he say, and that woman to his left? No, he wouldn't. So this tells me he doesn't even know who that woman is. That tells me right there, you've lost credibility with me in having an intellectual discussion because you don't even recognize Avita King when you see her. What? This man don't know. This man don't know American history. Get out of here with that.
This man is an idiot.
Oh, big time.
This man is disrespectful on every level that you can be disrespectful. Why are we even giving him airtime? Why? Why?
There's probably
What's
more
his
here
name
for you to
again?
rip.
The David Pac-Man show? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. He doesn't understand. You see how he keeps saying, "I don't understand." I don't. What don't you understand? It's as simple as it can be. But do you see how he keeps saying, I have no idea what he's talking about. Okay. Can we ask him if he knows what Joe Biden is saying? Maybe he
Probably.
only understands white people's language.
Maybe he does. And
Okay.
especially if they say things like, Where's Jackie? Sorry, Joe. Jackie's been dead for 2 months.
Jackie?
I genuinely
she's
don't.
not.
And these are just scrambled is the only way I can describe the talking points. Here's another example of this stuff. And you know what is true is what has been pointed out by some of our viewers. He's doing like a red meat word salad. It's like a Republican red meat bingo.
Here we go.
Even if it's completely scrambled in terms of its syntax, there are individual words there that are triggers to Republicans to get mad.
We laugh, but they're talking about a green agenda. They get mad at me because I say, I don't want any more trees.
So he doesn't even address whether he was coherent about that statement. He moves on. What was incoherent about his assessment of the 14th Amendment? I just want to know. Now, am I inclined to listening that way? No, I'm a different thinker. But he's, like I said, what is the first thing I said, Keisha? I don't know who he's talking to. I don't know the demographic of people he's talking to. I'm not talking about white, black, Hispanic.
It doesn't even matter. Obviously, he's speaking to the people. These people support him, and these people understand him. Why is this a Republican thing?
That's all that matters.
Yes. Why is this a Republican thing? Why is this a red meat salad?
Most of his people who support him don't support him by what he says. They support him by who he is.
And his policies and what he's standing on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
They know this man. They know this man full hard.
I want police officers.
Right. So this is like mixing two things. Green agenda. Oh, that's very bad. Very, very bad. And I want police officers. Oh, yeah. We support the police.
Here's what Walker said.
Very bad.
Here's what
very,
Walker
very
said.
Bad. And I
green agenda. They get mad at me because I say, I don't want any more trees. I want police officers.
Right. So this is like mixing two things. Green agenda. Oh, that's very bad. Very, very bad. And I want police officers. Oh, yeah. We support the police. I mean, okay. Not the law enforcement officers that handled the search warrant at Trump's house and not the Capitol Police that were there on January 6th. We don't support them. But as a general concept, we support.
I've never heard of one single, I don't care on how extreme they are. I've never heard of any Republican who don't support the police, who don't support the FBI. I've never heard anybody that said that. I don't know what this guy is talking about.
Can we just get through this? Because this is so painful. I want to throw out my phone.
You had enough of Mr. Pac-Man. You're going to write him a letter.
Listen.
You're writing him a letter.
Yeah, first he said, I don't understand him, but then he has the wherewithal to be able to break down what he's saying. Which is it? You don't understand him or you do? So if you don't understand, how can you break it down? If you don't understand, how can you give us the logic of what he's saying? If you don't understand, how can you voice an opinion on something that someone's saying that you don't understand what they're saying? Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. This guy's a jackass.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, think about that, Macho. Think about it. He's literally just said to us right now that he doesn't understand what he's saying. None of it makes sense.
Right on cue. Y'all both said that. Y'all both said that at the same time. Right on
like
cue.
He says it doesn't make sense. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's word salad. Blah 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 blah. Okay.
Mhm.
but he has a whole opinion on not knowing what someone said.
That's
An
right.
entire opinion. Think about that. It's very interesting to me, and I'm seeing it more and more. People listen, and then they form these opinions about things they don't understand. So how do you form an opinion about something you don't understand?
Because there's not much of an opinion that we could form on Joe Biden right now. There really isn't. Because the
No, because
guy,
we don't
he doesn't make
understand.
sense.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
don't understand. So we're all just sitting here with our mouths hanging open, like, huh? What did you just say?
Does anybody speak Bidenese? Anybody in the crowd? Come on. Anyone speak
Like we
Bidenese? I
all
don't
we
know.
could just say is he's whack. Something's not right here. Like what's going
Yeah.
on? Like we're not sitting back saying, so he said Jackie, that doesn't make any sense. Jackie's dead. And then he turned around and he said he supports the police, but he wants to reform the police. That doesn't make any sense. Like we're not even doing
And
that.
what this is a bunch of blue meat talking points just jumbled
But
up
yes,
together.
those Democrats, those liberals. The fuck out of here. Stupid.
All right. Now moving on to Tudo Dixon, right? Yeah, Tudor Dixon,
Are you saying
who's
that
running
correctly?
it. How do I say it?
Say it again.
Tudor,
It doesn't
Tudor
matter.
Dixon.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's my New York accent. Excuse me. My Spanish is not very good looking.
That's because
Uh,
you're not. That's because you're not Hispanic. You're black. That's what happens when black people try to speak Spanish. You get this.
well, let me say this. I was raised in a Puerto Rican household, so I got a little bit of
You
that
might be
in me.
Puerto Rican. I mean, you might be. You might be. I'll give you
All
that.
right, so here we have Tudor Dixon, who is running for governor as a Republican against the Gretch, who was holding hands with JoJo, by the way, holding hands with her.
Ugh.
Here she is. She said some controversial statements that apparently right wing wants her to walk it back, or does she really stand firm in it? Here's what she said: her controversial statements.
Here we go.
She's not a businesswoman. I guess she'd call it a business person. Let me clarify. She's a politician with a law degree. The sad thing is that Gretchen will tie your hands, put a gun to your head, and ask if you're ready to talk. For someone so worried about being kidnapped, Gretchen Whitmer sure is good at taking business hostage and holding it for ransom.
Gotti. All right. So that was one statement she made. That was on one day. And there's another statement that she said here, which is what has a lot of people on the right saying, okay, Tudor, are you going too far?
Okay.
And I think, come on, why would you even ask that question? Here it is.
Because I heard Kellyanne mention the auto show. Did you all see Gretchen Whitmer at the auto show? Holding Joe Biden's hand? Yeah, where it's like, was she holding him up? Did he think it was his wife? What exactly was happening there? I'll tell you, the look on her face was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. I'd rather be kidnapped by the FBI. Yeah, the media is like, oh my gosh, she did it again. Earlier today, I said, you know what, Gretchen Whitmer, since she's so worried about kidnapping, she shouldn't have held our businesses hostage. And they were like, she made this joke about kidnapping. And I'm like, no, that wasn't a joke. If you were afraid of that, you should know what it is to have your life ripped away from you.
Facts.
That was a joke,
Yeah.
what I just said. Just so the media gets it. That's what a joke is.
Ooh.
Say aloha.
There she is.
Ooh.
She comes out swinging. She comes out swinging.
Ooh.
Anyways, do you think she needs to walk that back?
No.
Absolutely not. Yeah, she doesn't.
I'm gonna
I've
tell
heard
you why.
far
I'm gonna tell
worse
you
on the
why.
left.
I respect people who stand firm in who they are and what they do and why they say it, right? So I'm the same way, right? I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And there's no reason for her to walk that back. She made statements of fact.
But if you're wrong, you would walk something back, right? If you were like, all
I
right,
was wrong. Absolutely.
yeah,
If I was wrong,
okay,
if I was out of pocket, I absolutely would. I'm very humble in that. I don't have a problem with admitting it, but I don't think she needs to walk that back. See, again, they can't handle when people are brutally honest. Once again,
right.
it's
They
cool though.
can't. Yeah, it is what it is.
Gretchen's an idiot. She's the same one that made a whole TikTok. Member that I put it on my TikTok. I think it got like 700 and something, thousand views about her making
Frank, what's going on, Frank?
Hey, Frankie, that is the tax for tampons. Remember, she did that.
Who did the tax to tampons? Gretchen?
Yeah, she was on.
Gretch. The gift that keeps on giving. Good old Gretch. All
Yeah,
right, let's get to the Newsmax. This is Sean Kreisman. Yep, Sean Kreisman, I believe, on Newsmax here, who sits down with Miss Dixon of those controversial statements.
here we
Tudor
go.
Dixon, showing Whitmer taking a double-digit lead. Abortion, the top issue for voters. That's according to that study. Again, Detroit Free. 9 days to go. There's still plenty of time, though, to make up ground before.
By the way, it's the Detroit Press. I don't know if you guys saw that. The Detroit
Yeah.
Press is releasing this poll. How
Okay.
many Republicans are in Detroit?
None.
For the
Oh, wait,
midterm.
2.
We're joined now by Republican nominee Tudor Dixon joining us live. Tudor, good to see you, and thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate that. So we showed that poll there from Detroit Free Press. What do you make of that polling? Obviously, polling changes week to week, and depending on which one's used, who's asked. What do you make of this, and what's the latest with your campaign here?
Well, as you've heard across the board lately, folks are coming out, especially Trafalgar Group is coming out and saying, we don't believe that this polling is accurate. This is reminiscent of 2016. And what we're seeing on the ground here, the latest polls we're seeing have us in the mid-single digits, which I think is very significant considering this governor and the Democrat Governors Association has spent nearly $15 million in attack ads against us. We're going to be seeing ads coming out soon, and we believe that her record is poor enough that has kept us in the mid-single digits. And once we bring those ads out, reminding and showing people what she continues to do to the state, that we'll be able to shorten that up pretty quickly. And
So, with the whole polling conversation that I want to bring up before we get to her response here is now I'm starting to see for the past, there's been a trend since, is obviously since Donald took office. Pollsters have been running poll numbers at a significantly low number in the Republican column than in the Democrat column. And now I'm starting to see the argument to that, right? That the lack of credibility to it, because the if you show that the poll numbers are far low and getting closer and closer to the race, the argument that the Republicans and even the moderates are making is that hinders people from going to the polls. Says, you know what, better luck next time. You won't even have a shot to get in here. Well, we need to start telling our neighbors, don't listen to the polls. Go anyways. Go and vote anyways, because all that's doing is to deter you from making your decision. They're weaponizing a lot of areas that we used to just trust blindly. So the polls, weaponizing the FBI, we've seen that. Weaponizing even the state secretary, who just all of a sudden during the pandemic made executive decisions to change TPM, time, place, and manner of these said elections, which they have no responsibility or no authority to do so. And this is all a way to keep a certain leader, a certain party in power. And that's reminiscent of what Sidney Powell was arguing about when she came up with her claims of what was going on in Venezuela. How Chavez doctored this whole scheme up so that the will of the people was subverted. And there could have been some credibility, or she could have been totally out the freaking door on this one, Keisha. Was she credible or is she crazy? And I'm still yet to see the findings on where we stand on all that, because her case is not public. I don't know if you remember Sidney Powell.
I do
Sidney
remember.
Powell. Yeah. So I don't know if her case was credible. And although I will make the argument like I do for Rudy, they both had affidavits, sworn testimonies. Now,
Yes.
again, I know that lawyers have to seek the validity of that person giving them the testimony first before they have them swear under oath to give a testimony. So I don't know if they're playing that game. Is it rhetoric on their side? I don't know. I trust Rudy and how his record on law has been stellar
Ye-
during the course of his career.
Well, I'm just going to say Trump has just shown us that people will do and say anything to make you believe it. So if you took that same poll, we'll say for, if for our Governor Inslee and whomever is running for governor, right now, all of our current Republican candidates look very low in King
Yep.
County. Does that make sense? So
Yep.
in King County King County and Pierce County are the largest counties in Washington, which is Seattle is King County. So
Which is
obviously
liberal.
it's very, very liberal. So if you took just those polls, yes, it's gonna look like this, right? But if you open the state up collectively in whole, it looks very different. So they just
Especially
want to give
Spokane.
you they just want to give you the illusion, right? So
Yeah.
that's why they use Detroit. I'm just gonna say this, and anyone who's from Michigan or knows anyone in Michigan, if you guys continue to vote for Gretchen, you're crazy. You still don't have water.
Wow. She
I'm
hasn't
just saying.
seemed to fix that problem, huh?
No. You still don't have water. So I'm gonna say this: if you reelect that trash hat, then you deserve not to have water. Stop it. Like there's time for change, and this is it. And the only reason why they're showing this poll, and she's right, like she's on the ground, she's with the people, is to make you believe that the Democrats are still on top.
We
If this
need
election actually happens in November,
yeah.
I'm telling you right now, this is gonna be their way to try to skew the numbers.
But
So if
here's my thing. The reason
yes,
why I like Tudor more than of the other candidates,
yes,
I like Tudor better than Lee Zeldin in New York, right? Why?
yes.
Because she's straightforward and she's not
Raw.
going to recant. Raw.
No,
We
raw.
need leaders who are going to cut through
Yes.
the whole, because right now it's the gloves are off, right?
Yes,
So
but you
we
know what it is? She doesn't care if she's, like, liked by the media. Does that
that's
make
what I'm
sense?
talking about.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
she's
talking about.
here for the people. So she's gonna say exactly what needs to be said to remind you what she's here for. The agenda, the policies, what she's gonna do for Michigan. I don't care if the
Yeah.
media likes me. I don't care what you say about me. The fact of the matter is this is where I stand. I stand firm in it, and fuck off if you don't like it.
Yeah.
That's the business that I'm talking about right there. The reason
And
why I
if
can never run for politics because I would be literally be saying fuck off. I'd be bleeped all the
but
time.
you need to. And we need people like you. And let me tell you why. Because Mayra Flores, who does that, she cuts right through it, doesn't care what the media says about her. They are ripping her to shreds. There are some of the most racist antics being said about Mayra Flores that if you said one inkling of that about AOC, the whole world would go rampant
And
right
that's
now.
just it, right? So what do they want? They want us all to say, yes, that was bad. I shouldn't have said that. This is what it is. But no, fuck all the way off. No,
Right.
no. And she
Right.
has the right attitude, and I respect her. I said what I said. The
Right.
media thinks that I was wrong. I wasn't. It wasn't a joke. So here, let me give you a joke so that you know the difference when I'm joking.
But
That's
here's the
what I'm
proof.
talking
Here's the
about.
proof in the pudding for some of these governors, right? In running in these states, Detroit is a mess.
A
I
mess.
don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat. Fix Detroit already. Fix
Yes.
it already. Same thing with California. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, fix those areas in California that are just absolutely unlivable. Please,
Yes.
it's a beautiful state. And when
Yes.
I'm sick and tired of this, someone who is a governor of Illinois, fix Chicago already. I'm sick of it.
Yes.
Lee
Look at
Zeldin
Seattle. Look at
is
Seattle.
yeah.
It's
I
trash.
and it's such a
It's trash.
beautiful city. It's a beautiful city.
It's
And again,
amazing trash. It's
yeah.
not even safe to walk the streets at night. That's a problem.
Oregon, another place,
Oregon.
Portland, yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
We need politicians who have grit, like Carrie Lake, Tudor Dixon,
Yes.
grit,
Yes.
roll up their sleeves kind of grit, and don't give a damn what the media says about them. Stop
Yes.
losing sleep of what the media says about you. If your
And you know
voters
what?
are backing you, if they're there for you, keep pushing because we
And
want it.
these are women that are showing you we're not weak. We can handle it, and we can run with the biggest and the baddest.
Damn right.
Let's go. Ding ding, bitches.
Let's
So I
go.
respect that.
But they're gonna call her a white supremacist. They're gonna call her all those kinds of names. But let's see
Okay.
how she handles this interview.
Overtake her by election day. And that's the goal because the people of Michigan absolutely need a change. We have a declining education system. We have
Damn right.
rising crime in the state of Michigan. And we have a government that is currently attacking our businesses. The environment is not good.
I wanted to touch on a couple of topics with you, but I also wanted to give you an opportunity to respond to this. You're very well aware of the kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitmer and everything that unfolded after that. There was a comment made by you in mainstream media equating to mocking the kidnapping plot. We'll play what you said and then give you a chance to respond.
Look at her smile. She's
The
ready
sad
for
thing
it.
is that Gretchen will tie your hands, put a gun to your head, and ask if you're ready to talk. For someone so worried about being kidnapped, Gretchen Whitmer sure is good at taking business hostage and holding it for ransom.
And in that moment, many critics say maybe you went too far on that. How do you respond to those critics?
I would say they should talk to the people on the ground here in Michigan, because I have people coming to me and honestly, genuinely crying in my arms saying she took everything from me. And she truly did. These are people who begged her to let them open up their businesses, and she kept them shut down. She kept greenhouses shut down. And one man made a very good point to me. He said, I got a note on the door of my greenhouse saying, if you continue to have curbside delivery, you will face jail time. He said, but marijuana was able to have curbside delivery, and I believe those two products are made the exact same way. She was picking winners and losers, robbing people of their livelihoods, locking them out of their businesses, and they want her to be held accountable to that. That wasn't a joke. That wasn't mocking. That was an honest discussion. And when is Gretchen Whitmer going to come out and have an honest discussion? Because she is currently hiding. The media has even come out and said she's not taking questions. Let's not forget that when she was running for vice president in the middle of a crisis, in the middle of a pandemic, she was on the national news every single day. But now that people want to know what she's actually going to do for Michigan and what her excuses are for the radical policies she had during COVID that did take businesses hostage, shut them down, and rob people of their livelihoods, she is nowhere to be found, and she has no plan going forward. She doesn't have a catchy little catchphrase to hide behind this time. We want to know what she's going to do for the state, and so far she hasn't said a darn thing.
Will there be a debate?
Woo! Will there be a debate? The same
No.
nonsense that John Fetterman's doing to Mehmet Oz and
Yes.
Kathy Hochul's doing to Lee Zeldin in New York. They're all running scared because these are coherent, you hear, Mr. Pac-Man? Coherent leaders who are fierce, and they're not going to back down. They're going to address the hard issues. What are the hard issues? Crime is belligerent in most of these cities.
Education.
Education is terrible. So now this is setting the stage for the what do you got to lose?
Well, here's the
I'm
thing
not
too.
the one that's losing. Y'all are. I'm gonna
And
win that seat.
exactly. And you know what's interesting? You see how they said that some people said that she took it too far, right?
Sure.
Gretchen wasn't actually kidnapped.
No, she wasn't.
Those people's businesses were actually taken from them.
Facto.
So let's keep it clear.
Let's be 100% clear.
Let's keep it clear. You see what I'm saying? See, you see how they do this? This is so interesting. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. The best thing that I ever did was come sit my black ass here on the Morning Fix every morning, because you know what? You are really making me have to think, and really now making me have to pay attention and listen, actually listen, hear what people are saying. Because 9 times out of 10, I just ignore the nonsense that leave people's mouths because I don't have the energy for it. But when you hear when people speak, right? And they say, "Oh, you took it too far," but she wasn't actually kidnapped. So why do we take it too far?
Yeah,
It's the same
what are
thing
we
with
having reverence for? It was a plot.
it was a plot.
It
It didn't
wasn't
actually
executed.
happen. Yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
actually happen. It's the same thing with the Brett Favre thing. Remember, that's why I said we need to dig deep into it. But what do
We're
they do?
digging deep into that too, guys. Stick
Yes,
around
we
for
are.
Monday because we're gonna do more research on that.
Yeah,
We got
we're
something.
researching that. We're working on it. But like even like that, right? It's like, oh, he preyed on the poor, right? No, he didn't. You see what I'm saying? So
Stupid.
it's just it's an amazing thing that this time we're living in is how we continue to play on words and make people feel bad. What she said was so right on point. That's why when she said, "No, come talk to the people who are coming up to me crying," money. Because it's not about Gretchen and her feelings. It's about the fact that the citizens and the people of Michigan are getting screwed. She didn't actually get kidnapped. If she actually got kidnapped, I promise you she would have never made that comparison. But it was just a plot. Nothing happened. But these people actually lost their livelihood. She actually took everything from them. And she continues to hold them hostage. And she continues to have the power over these people. And she continues to destroy these people's lives and doesn't give a shit. So
And
This is
she demonized people on of the opposing party, their
yes,
supporters. Yeah, she did.
yes,
That's
yes.
why
So
they
this is a
rioted
really
in the
good
Capitol.
yeah, this is a really good time for America. We really need to listen to the words that people are using.
Yep.
Listen how
Very
they
good
use
point.
their words and
Very
listen to
good.
what they're trying to say and make you believe by the words in which they use. The left doesn't like to comprehend context with anything. Exactly. So right now is a time. If you are in any way, shape, or form in, a flippy floppy of where you should vote, listen to their words and how they use their words. Pay attention because everything they're doing right now is to make you feel a certain way to keep you from thinking logically.
Hmm.
That's what's happening.
Just that simple.
That
All
simple.
right. So here's this other clip here. Let's go pivot back real quick to some more incendiary comments on Herschel Walker. It seems Herschel Walker is the punching bag to a lot of
Okay.
liberals because, again, whenever they step in the ring with a actual intellectual like Dennis Prager, we all witnessed it. The
Yes.
belligerentness of Anna Kasparian trying to have a conversation with him, and even the Scent guy trying to have a conversation with just yelling and screaming. It's like they're both kids talking to their dad, right? Well,
Right.
here's more scathing attacks from the Young Turks towards Herschel Walker, now calling him a transphobic person. Here's what this person had to say.
Of course, he's running as a Republican in the 2022 midterms. He's got to touch that button here. You know that Bible passage, do unto others as Herschel Walker would not do unto you. That's right. Herschel Walker has reached a new low, which is saying a lot for his campaign. He was at a rally in Calhoun, Georgia, and he said this about trans kids. He said, "When I get to heaven, I want the Lord to recognize me."
By the way, Keisha, I really love the setup behind her, right? You know, I'm a sucker for aesthetics, so I like all that back there, and that's why I could
Even
understand
the
why
wires
people.
that are hanging down.
No, I don't like that part. That part
Oh,
I don't like.
okay.
I just like the ambiance. I like the whole books there that you instead of seeing it straight on, you see it from the side, making her look smart. Whatever. Anyways, I'm a sucker for this. And anyways, this is probably why they get a lot of people to look at them because they have nice visual appealing stuff.
Because
This
I
is
can tell you right
ridiculous.
now, they're telling young kids in school, you can be a boy tomorrow, even if you're a girl. But I want the young kids to know, you go to heaven. Jesus may not recognize you because he made you a boy, he made you a girl. Why are we talking about things like that? Okay, now I know none of that actually makes sense, but so we have to put it through the little like Herschel Walker translator machine, and it comes out as, if you're trans, you're not going to heaven. That's effectively what that word salad means and meant.
He didn't say that they're not going to heaven. He said when they go to heaven, Jesus is going to say, see,
Okay.
they act so smart, but it's like
Okay.
almost when Jesus looked at the Pharisees, is
No.
that
No, 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 no,
Jesus'
no, 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 no,
story is
no,
going
no,
to be
no,
a
no, no.
stumbling block.
Stop.
Claim to be wise, but you're a fool.
Stop. 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 Here's what we're not gonna do. We are not gonna disrespect religion. We're
No.
not gonna disrespect people's beliefs. And we're not going to entertain this bullshit in which leaves her mouth. Okay? So, with that being said, she's not doing anything but making a mockery of Christianity and making a mockery of his beliefs. That is what she is doing right now. She's using, that's why when she started out, she said the Bible passage that says, do as into others as Herschel Walker doesn't do to others, remember whatever the fuck she
Yep.
said in the beginning
She
right
made
there?
it up. Yeah.
That's why she did that. So if you want me to listen to anything that's coming out of this bitch's mouth, I'm not gonna do it because she's not. I'm not. I don't. I'm sick and tired. I'm burnt out on real of the disrespect of belief and Christianity and heaven and God. He said, "I want when you get to heaven, God to recognize you because He made you a boy or He made you a girl, and you're changing who you are." That's what he said. And then she said that it doesn't make sense and we have to put it through the Herschel Walker, word salad. And then she twisted it and put her demonic interpretation and twist on it, is what she did. She did not use his words, she used her words, her interpretation of what exactly he said. Read it back, play it back. He said what he said. She filled in the blanks of what she wanted to make Christianity and beliefs look bad. I'm sick and I'm tired of it. The fact of the matter is, you came here in the perfection of the eye of God. He made you who you are and what you are supposed to be. Society is making you believe that you can be something other than what you are. You're either a boy or you're a girl, period. There's no in between. And the fact of the matter is, when you're dead and gone and you're put in the ground and they dig you up, your DNA is going to tell us exactly who you are. I don't care what you cut off, and I don't care what you put on you. That is the fact.
Yeah, again, how is this saying that he's transphobic? He literally said, when you get to heaven.
Because she changed it.
Yeah, she did
Macho.
change it. Yeah.
She took his words and she twisted his words because she had to put it through the thing because it's word salad. What does that really mean? Because that doesn't make any sense. Boom, 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 boom. And then you're talking about her aesthetics, stupid bitch.
That's what got you tight. When I said, look at her aesthetics.
Yeah,
Look at I don't have that kind. Look at this. Look at my aesthetics. I don't have
I
that.
didn't even see nothing. All I heard was the bullshit leaving her mouth. And then you start talking, and that's why I said, oh, even those wires hanging down, you want to talk about what's behind
And I don't
it?
really care about what she has to say. That's why I'm like, I'd rather look at the aesthetics than to hear, because her rhetoric is stupid, Keisha. It is dumb. Again, what is the national religion of Turkey right now? Is Islam. Is a Muslim faith. And you want to talk about a Christian faith? Let's not do this. Let's not do this. All right. So again,
what we should do is we should just listen to people, respect their words, whether we agree with it or not, and then move past it. What she's doing is she's giving her interpretation of his words. That's two very different things.
Exactly. And she's totally twisting him up, and then hurl the indictment that he's transphobic.
Yeah.
Where did he say? Where does it say that he was? Look, you guys can check that out for yourself. Where and ever that man is the most genuine, loving person to everyone, and he does have a Christian. He's 100% a Christian. The guy talks about Jesus.
And what's wrong with that?
Yeah, Raphael Warnock is the guy he's running up against. He's a pastor. He's a pastor. Come on, like, are we kidding me? Like, what? You got the better alternative? His alternative is a Christian Bible thumper too, as well. Okay,
Whatever.
Here we go.
Whatever.
Oh boy,
I'm done with her. Are we moving on from that?
Absolutely, and we're gonna wrap up the show with Smiley, Tiffany Smiley,
Tiffany Smiley.
But before we do that, let's do a quick break, and then I also want to explain some things when we get back. So keep it locked right here, guys. All right, welcome back to the Morning Fix live radio show here. The merch dropped already. I know it says, the graphic says September 15th. It already has dropped. It's already available on ajsrentroom.com. Also, this Sunday, folks, we have Simply Sundays back with Mr. Full Service. So get your alerts up, get your notifications on, make sure that you're ready to go and comfortable on Sunday. Get your coffee mugs ready, the mugs that you already ordered on ajsrentroom.com, and get ready to sit in front of Mr. Full Service, because I can't imagine. He's took 2 weeks off. I'm sure he's got a lot of topics to discuss. I'm sure he's going to hit us with a lot of knowledge, and you can catch Simply Sunday here on the Morning Fix at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to tune into that. And to...
What happened? Macho?
I'm here. I don't know what happened there. My bad. To wrap up this show, it's never a good show without a little technical glitch, right? It's
That's
like
right.
always
That's
got
right.
Tiffany Smiley in the great state of Washington is running for
Yes.
senator, and
Yes.
you have been campaigning for her as well. How's
Yes.
that been?
We've been flag waving, door knocking. It's been amazing. She's making a lot of headway despite what they want to say. She's running neck and neck, but right now they're trying to get ready to try to smear her, of course, in the media. When Murphy is just trash. All she does is pass legislation or support legislation that, is Biden ridden, just like Inslee.
And Murphy has spent how much money in her I mean, she's throwing millions.
Millions. Yeah, but she has
Yeah,
her pockets are deep,
yeah,
deep, 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 deep.
yeah. She's
Mhm,
rolling
and her
around with
and
the
her
same
support is
people.
deep.
Oh yeah, she's rolling around with the same people Newsom is running around with, the cartel.
Correct.
Excuse me, other
Yes.
people
And
that
Inslee, and
qualify.
Inslee. But I can say this in the state of Washington from what we've been seeing, because you guys all know that, I have an elected position here in Washington. And so what we've been seeing and, with our sign waving, our door knocking, everything that we've been doing here on the ground, it's positive. People are waking up in Washington. People are tired. People are seeing that without change, there really is no change, right? So
Mhm.
you can't keep re-electing the same people and thinking you're going to get a different result. So the crime is so high that people are tired and they want to see something different. Don't get me wrong, this is staunch liberal chaos here, especially in Seattle. I'm in the thick of it.
It's progressive. It's more progressive.
Yes. And
Yeah.
two, I live in a my district, the 37th district has the lowest voter turnout, which is
Where is it, like North Seattle, West Seattle,
it
East
would
Seattle,
be
South
South
Seattle?
Seattle.
South Seattle.
So I live amongst the minorities of Seattle, right? So
Mm.
like on the outskirts is money and the inskirts is not so much. So like I'm in like the deep core of it. And so my district, one of the largest districts, has the lowest voter turnout. So I've really been on the ground getting into the community to get these people to show up and vote and let them know that if you don't vote, we're not going to see change and you're going to continue to have the homeless people living in your front yard because that's what's happening right now.
Intense.
Yeah.
Intense.
Intense.
Yeah.
Literally in your front yard.
And you believe Miss Smiley is gonna change that?
She's money. She's
Oh yeah.
it. She's money.
All right.
She's where we need to be here in Washington. If we don't get this change, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
We're in real trouble.
And here was
Yeah.
she. This is when CNN was pressing her on her whole idea of her logic, and then also being endorsed by Donald Trump.
Yes.
Here's how that conversation went down.
The point that President Biden was making is election integrity is also a cornerstone of democracy, and it's a concern shared by some in your party that the idea that there are election deniers, that they're sowing doubt about what happened in 2020. So let's just drill down on this question. Simple yes or no. Do you believe that Joe Biden won the 2020 election fair and square?
Yes, he is our president. Yes, and to be clear, I think in 2016, Hillary Clinton had concerns. Stacey Abrams had concerns. This is an issue on both sides of the aisle. This isn't a Democrat or Republican issue. We need to protect the integrity of our elections. They need to be, easy to cheat or hard to cheat and easy to vote. That is very clear.
And let me ask,
and that's
I'm going to ask you about that in a second.
This
But
is
you
not
said
a divisive. Yeah.
You said that President Biden is our president. Was he fairly elected, legitimately elected?
All right, so this is the problem that I have with the commentary, and I'm glad CNN is changing this because
Yes.
now they're moving away from this argumentative behavior
Yes.
that we're not seeing on right. I've been watching a lot of like right wing media for years, right? And
Yes.
they like to jocks back and forth. They like to have debate. They like to have discourse. I've seen even liberals on there too, even more so, more on the right than on the left. But they don't antagonize and interrogate their guests. They'll have like Chris Salcedo is one example. Chris Salcedo of Texas has his own show, right? And he has a lot of people who disagree with him on his show. And he
Yes.
doesn't interrogate. He asks questions and then he expresses how he disagrees and moves on. And this
Yes.
guy is a strong starch conservative, right?
Yes.
So again, I don't see this on the right as much as I see this on the left. This constant doubling down. Again, you said this word. Again, do we want to
So,
what?
really
Why?
quickly,
Why?
what did I say earlier about watch their words and how they do things? She asked her, yes or no. Do you believe Joe Biden was elected? Do you believe he's the president? What does she say? Yes,
Yes,
he is the
Joe Biden is the
president of the
president.
United States. She answered the question.
But she wants to rear her into the election discussion. And then she
No,
wants to
no, you
interrogate
know what
her.
she's doing? No, you know what she's doing? She wants her to admit that it was fair and square. It's not good enough. She said yes or no. She said, yes, he is the president. No, that's not good enough. You see? That's not good
Mm,
enough. It's never good enough, right? So, what is the first thing they do? I want you to say yes or no. Do you think he's the president? Do you think he's elected? Yes, he's the president of the United States. That's not good enough. You see? Because what did I say yesterday? It's not about anything other than being right. It's
that's
about
right.
being right. It's not. There's nothing else about this other than we're right, you're wrong. Donald Trump, because it's all about Donald Trump. Hit play. I want
And
to. I
and
want to.
for 4 years, you've never heard anybody on the right double down on someone. Do you believe Donald Trump
Yes.
is the president? Do you
Yes.
think he won fair and square? No. Why do
Yes.
we need to be insecure? We won. I've
We
never
won.
seen the most insecure administration as much as this one. They're the
And you know
most
why?
insecure administration.
You know why she's asking the question again? You want to know why
Why?
she's asking her again? Because Tiffany said, what did she say to her? This has been a problem on both sides.
Right.
Hillary had some concerns. Abrams had some concerns. You see? So now she wants to double down because she doesn't want to make it about the Democratic Party. She wants to
Right.
make it about Trump. It's not
Because she
really about election
because
integrity.
Tiffany
It's
got
about
the
Trump.
and Tiffany got the endorsement from Trump too
Right.
as
And
well.
I'm going to
Yeah.
say this here in I sit on a board and that you only can sit at if you're an elected official. And voter integrity is a huge thing. And we're trying to push back against that because that particular argument will not get the moderate, or the swing vote, right? So
Right.
it's like we don't want to talk about it because you can't get the swing vote if you keep talking about it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. Because they don't want to give so like what she's doing to Tiffany is gonna if she isolates Tiffany in this conversation, it will keep the swing vote, that moderate person from voting for Tiffany because voter integrity is not as important for them.
Mm,
And because it's connected to Trump, that's the easiest way to isolate the people who would vote for you.
interesting. All
Yep.
right.
Elected.
Yes, Joe Biden is our president. And look, my campaign has been so successful because from day one, I am focused on the endorsement of the voters of Washington State and delivering results.
There you
I
go.
care about the people of Washington State. That's who I'm fighting for. And unfortunately, Patty Murray fights for Washington, D.C. Her and Joe Biden
There you
have a
go.
combined 80 years in government, and we are just not any better off in Washington State because of that.
Okay, you didn't say that he was legitimately elected. I just want to give you one more chance to say that, and if you are comfortable with your answer, we'll move on.
Yes, I think I made it clear. He is our president.
Oh my God. That argumentative. Move on. What is her policy? Who is this woman? I want to know who I want to vote for. Right? Like
That's
Jesus.
because I'm telling you now, like until you're like intimately involved in the politics and the political side of things, like when you actually sit at tables and hear discussions about things that are actually impacting how this looks and how this works, when you're in a room, I'm going to a dinner next week. The Walkaway, the gentleman from Walkaway is speaking. So these people will be there here in Washington State. It's a dinner, which means I have to actually comb my hair and take a beanie off and put clothes on. It's painful, but it is what it is. When you sit amongst it and you see it, you understand why that happens. And because the voter integrity and because Donald Trump said it was rigged, that's how they are trying to isolate these strong contenders. They
Mm-hmm.
know she's giving Murray a run for her money. Patty, she's out of here, and they know that. So what are they going to do? They're going to isolate. They're trying to isolate Tiffany. They're trying to isolate her, and that's just really what it is. It's cool though.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. When November comes and Tiffany wins, I'll let you guys know how that goes because I'll be at that celebration.
And maybe Murray's gonna be like, I'm gonna make sure that he never hits the Oval Office, like our other TDS woman over there. All
Mm-hmm.
right, folks. That brings us to the end of the show. We
Yes.
did great, Keisha. We had fun as always, and it's been a great Friday show. I want you guys to remember to share this channel, like this channel, engage with this channel. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. You guys can follow us on Facebook. We're on Instagram too. So when all else fails, if we get banned on TikTok, we go here to Twitch. If we get banned on Twitch, we go to other platforms. So they're gonna have to cancel us all the way, Keisha,
That's
not
what I'm talking.
halfway.
That's what
So
I'm talking about. Get 'em.
we're building a brand here, folks, and you guys are a big part of that. So share about the channel, engage with the channel. The more you do, the more visibility this channel gets. And I thank you in advance for your participation and
Yes.
for your support.
Yes.
So we'll be back here on Monday. We got a lot to discuss next week, including this Brett Favre stealing of the welfare money, robbing of the poor,
Robbing
and
of the poor.
for feeding the rich. This argument, this age-old argument of the elites just care about the elites, which to some extent there's some facts to that, but we're gonna dissect that a little bit more. So stick around, folks. We got a lot to cover. Be sure to stay tuned on Sunday of Simply Sundays with Mr. Full Service at 10
Yes.
a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, folks, adios.
Swallow.